McGriddles and the McMuffins, and then put them in your freezer for those busy mornings when you need to eat or you need to feed your kids or your family or whoever, and you can take them out of the freezer and pop them in the microwave and they're ready to go. So this is totally a make-ahead dish. Probably would not make the hash brown bowl ahead, but it's very easy and quick. So all of these things can be made even on your busiest morning. Now, for the McMuffins, I have 2 of the small dash, the ones that become so popular to make the low-carb truffles. Well, they also make a version that's a little griddle, and I love these for this purpose, among other things. If you don't have these, you could totally make this, in a skillet. You would probably need to maybe trim the egg or use a ring mold or a cutter of some sort, like a biscuit cutter, to make the round shape. But I have these, so this is what I'm gonna use. And even though it's nonstick, I'm still gonna put the nonstick spray on there. I'll take 1 egg and put it in each little plate, on each plate. And I do want to break the yolk, so I'm just gonna break it and just kind of let it do its thing. I'm gonna salt and put a little pepper on each one. I think eggs need some salt, and I think everything needs pepper, so. And then close those down. Those will take just a minute or so. So easy. I'm also going to, I've got a skillet preheating. Now, for this, I like to use Canadian bacon. You can use regular bacon if you want to, but Canadian bacon you can find in any grocery store. It's really just ham. But I'm gonna need a couple of slices of the Canadian bacon. I'm gonna cook 4. This is also a very quick cooking breakfast meat. I used to, when Austin was in elementary school, they packed their lunch every day, and I would heat that up and then cut it into pieces and put it in a little thermos so he could have a hot meat for breakfast. He loved it. These you really are just heating these through. Now, for all of these meals, I have in my stove a sheet pan with bacon on it. I cook bacon 99% of the time in the oven because I don't want to deal with that mess. I don't want the grease splattering everywhere. So it's easy just to lay it out on a sheet tray, 400, 425, about 20 minutes-ish, something like that, and you've got bacon that's ready to go. See how those just cook perfectly? I'm gonna let it go just a minute more. Let's turn our little Canadian bacon, which you can find anywhere. I'm gonna turn that up just a little bit, let that get good and brown. You will also need some cheese. I'm just using regular sliced cheese and some Egg McMuffin. Oh goodness, my brain just left me. Huh? Yeah, my mind just went blank. An English muffin. Goodness gracious. And cut them in half. And put a slice of cheese on there. They're so easy, and these are so good. And again, you can make them ahead anytime you need to. Take your little, see how perfectly round that is? If you don't want the yellow in the egg, you can leave that out and just do egg whites, or you can, totally just like you're gonna make scrambled eggs and put some in there. It's up to you, whatever your family likes. You're just heating that Canadian bacon through. And I'm gonna put 2 slices per to give it just a little bit extra protein. Put your top on. You can also toast those English muffins if you want to. I like mine not toasted, but if you want to toast them, you can. And you've got an Egg McMuffin right here. Now, if you wanted to freeze these, what I would do is either wrap them up in a piece of parchment paper, which I don't have any right here handy, but I have some over here. Wrap them up in parchment paper and then put them in a baggie and pop them in your freezer, so when you take them out, you can just take out the parchment wrapped Egg McMuffin and pop it in your microwave for, 90 seconds, and out the door you can go, or your kids can have a hot breakfast for those school mornings, or you can eat, before you go to work or whatever you're doing. This is a great thing to make ahead and have in the freezer, or just make them fresh. You saw this literally from start to finish. It took what, 2 minutes to make that? So if you have those ingredients on hand, you can have a hot breakfast every single morning that you want to have. So there you go, a quick and easy Egg McMuffin that you can make any day of the week. I'm gonna clean up, and when I come back, we're gonna start on the hash brown bowls. I'll be back in just a second. All right, now we're gonna get started on one of my boys' favorite things to eat, and that is the hash brown bowl. They found it at Waffle House. I'm not sure who else sells it, but Austin specifically took me to Waffle House so that I could taste this to make it at home. So it really is very, very good. I'm gonna get started on the hash browns. Now I'm using just regular frozen hash browns that I've thawed just a little bit. If you want to use the refrigerated ones, you can. If you want to shred fresh potatoes and fry them that way, you can. Up to you. I just keep these in my freezer for convenience sake so that I can make these anytime, because they really are very, very good, and my boys love to eat them. So we make them quite often at my house. So we just want to get those going, the frozen hash browns. I just put some oil in the bottom and just a layer of the hash browns down. Just going to salt and pepper them and let them go. They just need to brown up a little bit. All right, now I need to grab some butter out of the refrigerator because I forgot it. And a little knife. Now I'm gonna make our scrambled eggs. I have here just some eggs in a bowl. And here's a little tip for you. If you will crack your eggs on the counter and not on the edge of the bowl, you're less likely to get shells. You know how sometimes you'll crack an egg and you get the shell down in there? Well, if you crack them on a flat surface instead of the rim of the bowl, you're less likely to get the shells in there. So we just want to make scrambled eggs, is what we're doing here. I have some eggs. I'm going to add some salt. And this is not purchased pre-ground pepper. You've seen me do this before, but I take whole peppercorns, and I did it right before we came on, and I have a little spice mill. It's really a coffee mill, but I use it exclusively for spices, mainly just pepper. And I grind up whatever I think I'm gonna need for a few days, and I just keep it in my little ramekin. Because if I'm doing a lot of cooking, you know, I love my pepper mills, but I sometimes, you know, just wanna have the convenience of it ready to go. If you wanna up your game with your cooking in flavor, that is one area that really, fresh ground pepper will elevate your cooking to a whole new level. Okay, I'm gonna put my eggs in my skillet, and let's check on the bacon. Let me turn those down just a little. I don't like to cook my eggs too quickly. Let's go to the oven, and I'll show you. I've already got one tray out, but let's see if this tray of bacon is ready, and it is. See, it's no fuss, no muss, and you've got bacon that is ready to go, and you can take it off the pan, off the sheet tray. And then I like to just drain it on some paper towels. And there's absolutely no mess. And look how nice and flat that bacon is. And what I would do is take paper towels in between the layers to, to get off any excess grease. And because I live in the South, and because everything tastes better with bacon, I have a little container that I keep mine in my refrigerator, and I would completely take any of those drippings and put that in my container. But look at that. You absolutely have no mess to clean up. And if you line, which I highly recommend, look at this. Instead of a greasy mess, I have a clean sheet pan. So just a little hint for you. I'm gonna scramble my eggs for the hash brown bowls. Low and slow's the way to go with eggs. They're fluffier. Sometimes I will add a little bit of milk or heavy cream if I have them. Heavy cream, just a splash, in your eggs makes them really light and fluffy. It's not necessary, but it does add a fluff to your eggs. Makes them delicious. Now my hash browns are cooking. I'm just gonna use the same spatula because it's going in the same bowl. And I just wanna kind of turn those over a little bit at a time. Now my boys like their hash browns to be crispy. Most people do. I think I am very much in the minority on that one, but it's okay. Pat them out to another layer and leave them be. The key to getting that crisp underside is don't touch them. Let them just do their thing, and you have some delicious, a delicious base for your hash brown bowl. Now, this is one of those things that you can completely customize to your liking. Now, for me, I like my scrambled eggs with a little bit of onion, red pepper, and zucchini, just a little bit, diced really, really fine, sauteed beforehand, to my scrambled eggs. Words just aren't coming to me today for some reason. But my children don't like that. They would prefer their scrambled eggs to be plain. So that's the way I do it for them. But if I was making it for myself, I would completely and totally put some peppers and onions, or, I like zucchini chopped up in mine. If you've never had scrambled eggs with a little bit of zucchini in it, try it. It's really, really good. If you have a shallot is delicious in this. If you don't have a shallot and you have a small onion or green onions, that's perfectly good. If you want the flavor, but you don't want the chunks, you could add some onion powder to them. Up to you. You could add any fresh herb that you like. Maybe you like a little fresh thyme in your eggs, like the French people do. That's delicious too. It's really just, this is a method, and you can customize it however you want it. Now, those are done, so I'm gonna turn those off because they are gonna continue for just a minute. Let's check our crispy hash browns. See how those got just kind of golden on the edges? That's because I didn't mess with them. If you constantly stir them, they're not gonna get that bottom crispy. So, there you go. Now, let's assemble these hash brown bowls. What you will need are a couple of bowls, obviously. I mean, it is hash brown bowls. On the bottom, put some of your hash browns. This also makes a great supper. We have breakfast for supper quite a bit at my house because all of us like it. And believe it or not, I have days when I just can't think of anything I want to eat. And breakfast always fits that bill. Then you will put just a little, well, let's put our cheese down first. I'm just using shredded cheddar cheese. You can use whatever you like. Up to you. Use as much or as little as you like. Then put your eggs over top. That way, the cheese will get melted by the heat of the egg. These are really good and hearty and filling. Now, let's see if my pans are done, and I think they are. Set these to the side. They're not hot, so I can move them. Bring your bowls over. And of course, I mean, we cannot forget the bacon, right? I mean, you just can't. You gotta have bacon with your hash brown bowls. This is where you use your judgment, as much or as little as you like. I love bacon. You could use turkey bacon if you wanted to. Up to you. Okay, just chop it up into bite-sized pieces and sprinkle your bacon over top. And you have a wonderful, wonderful breakfast that you can make at home in just a few minutes. I mean, it does not take that long. And you've got a delicious and easy breakfast, lunch, or dinner, for that matter, any day of the week. I'm gonna clean this up. When I come back, we're gonna make my personal favorite, which is a McGriddle from McDonald's, and I like mine with bacon. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, now we're gonna make one of my favorite, if not my favorite, breakfast that you get out anywhere. And it is my favorite breakfast to eat when I'm home. Pancakes and bacon, that to me is a match made in heaven. I want my bacon to have a little bit of that syrup on it. It's that sweet, salty deliciousness. McDonald's has a breakfast menu called a McGriddle. Now, they come like a sausage McGriddle or a bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddle. I don't want any of that on there. All I want is the bacon and the McGriddle. So that's what me and the boys, then Mike doesn't really, he doesn't do breakfast out very much at all. But if we're going somewhere and we, pull through to get something, that's what we get. We get sausage McGriddles, substitute bacon. But they're so easy to make at home. I just use a pancake mix. I want to show you a little trick. We all have these in our pantries where, sometimes that'll stay like that, sometimes it won't. You're gonna love this little hint. Works on cereal boxes, anything that has a box. Take and fold down all 4 flaps. All right, take your fingers on either side. You might have to kind of go down a little bit and push it in like that. Both sides. This cardboard's a little harder. I like to fold mine over. Then take one of your flaps out and put it in the other side of the fold. And you have a way to keep your boxes closed in your pantry. Love this little hint. I do it with cereal boxes all the time. So I have here my griddle that's getting very hot, so let's turn it down just a little bit. And I have here just some pancake mix, that pancake mix. I don't follow the directions on there. I guess I've just made so many, I kind of know how to do it. And I just add a little bit of water at a time till it gets to the consistency that I want. If you want to bump up the protein, you can add milk. That's not going to be enough, so let's add a little more. I make pancakes for breakfast probably 5 mornings out of 7 for my family. I mean, especially my 2 boys. They love pancakes, and I make them, I would say 5 mornings out of 7. Some weeks 7 days out of 7. If it's not this, it's typically the little breakfast bowl or something like that. Stir it together, but don't overwork your pancake batter. It is supposed to have lumps in it. I get asked questions constantly about cooking, which is great. I love to answer the questions. And one of the things I hear is, how come my batter's tough? My muffins are tough, or my pancakes are tough. It's because you've overworked the batter. You see that? You want it to be like that, but you see how I've got lumps in there? That's okay. I'm gonna add the magic ingredient, which is some syrup. You can use pure maple syrup. Now, the McGriddles that you get at McDonald's have little crystallized pieces of syrup in there. I don't know where they get that, but I'll just use syrup, and it works out great. That's just pancake syrup. You can use, maple syrup if you want to. Butter your griddle, and I like to use a scoop, and I just, that way they're all about the same size. Doesn't have to be perfect. You could totally make these in your little dash flat griddle if you wanted to. Up to you. This is a rather small griddle, so I can probably only get 6 on there. But that's okay, that's more than enough. And then sometimes I like to bump it up just a little more and add just a little bit more syrup. I am using sugar-free syrup because that's what we actually prefer. And then just let those go. Yum. And just let them cook. Oh, I wish you could smell this. Smells so good. And just let them go until you see little bubbles on the tops of your pancakes. I just take my little spatula and kind of keep pushing them back into that round shape till that bottom sets, and then it'll be fine. When you get bubbles on the top of your pancake, that's when it's time to flip it. Don't flip it too early because it will be a mess if you do. Just keep it going. I can turn it up now. And if you wanted to do the bacon, egg, and cheese, you can. I don't want to. I want just bacon. But if you want to put some scrambled eggs in there, you can. You can kind of flip up the edge to see I'm almost ready to flip. The second side never takes as long as the first. I love these. I love them. It's my favorite. Let's get our food out here. Ready to show you the end. Oh, goodness. Smells so good. All right. Okay, I think we're ready to flip. Flip it. You see how it's golden on there? That's what you want. Not my favorite spatula for pancakes, but that's okay. Let it go on that second side. You see the bubbles? That's what you want. When you get those bubbles, it's time to flip. And you've got some delicious. Now, if you don't want to make the McGriddles out of them, you can just serve them like this with the bacon alongside. It's up to you. Totally up to you and what you like. You will need some bacon that is cut in half. That's why I did some cut in half and some not. All right, let's get a paper towel and kind of blot off a little bit of excess grease that's on there. Oh, smells so good. I don't think anything smells as good as pancakes and bacon. Let's let these go just a minute more. And then, when you're ready, just put it down. It's a little hot, so I'm not gonna touch it. And put your couple of slices or as much or as little bacon as you want on top. Add another one, let it cool just a little bit because it's very hot. And there you go. You've got delicious, delicious McGriddles that you can make at home. Egg McMuffins, McGriddles, and hash brown bowls any day of the week. Thank you for joining with me, and I will see you next time on Everyday Manna.
Thanks to Dr. Shaw and the staff, I have been able to get my life back.
The program is simple, and I have no more painful shots. I'd like to thank Dr. Shaw and for his wonderful staff.
And since coming to the Allergy Clinic for the last 5 months and taking the drops, I can really tell a difference.
I began seeing Dr. Shaw 2 years ago, and I could not be happier with the outcome of my treatment.
And it's made us such a difference in our family. Thank you, Dr. Shaw.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Smallwood for Sound Hearing Center in Bristol, and I've got good